From Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love, Westwood One proudly presents another production of Army-Navy football. Hello everyone, I'm Tommy Farrell, your host for today's Army-Navy football pregame show, brought to you by Fast Track. With updates every 20 minutes, I'm Tommy Farrell. This is Sports Center on ESPN Radio. Millennials should invest more time in their credit. Tommy Farrell, NCC News.
Tell everybody what you told me off the air when you went to the Billy Joel concert. Big, tough football player from New England. Go ahead.
During New York State of Mind at the Garden, I cried. Tears were rolling down my cheeks. My girlfriend was making fun of me, but I'm taking pride in it. Billy Joel, as my dad says, he's not only a singer and a songwriter, he's a poet, and he's a man of many talents.
Well, the first, like you said, you're going to be walking around the mall anyway. You might as well get the exercise if you're going to park in the back. But the first caller that called in, I've never got a front parking spot at the mall, let alone really anywhere I've got. Maybe I just have bad luck.
You got to be really lucky. You got The timing is everything.
And then I go to the Ocean County Mall. You have probably 10 spots. The first 10 spots are handicapped, not 2 or 3. It's a lot of the beginning of the parking lot is handicapped. But going off of what you said before, maybe Freehold Mall is trying it because those Monmouth County residents have the money to do it.
We were down 31-6.
Right.
We were both my school, Stonehill, and LIU Post in Long Island. We were both 4-0. Right. It was a big game in the Northeast 10 Conference, and we just came back, kept getting stops on defense. Ended up getting an interception here. They got a cheap penalty. They got a cheap penalty on the sideline. We get the ball back.
Yeah, and
we score on a tight end seam route.
Uh-huh.
Then we get a ridiculous onside kick right up the middle. Sets up the game. We're on their 35-yard line.
I got to hit a break.
With 2 seconds left.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
The center, it's supposed to be on 2. The center snaps it on 1, so the offensive line is still in their stance. The entire defensive line is chasing our quarterback. Sweeps to the right. Misses 2 tackles. Sweeps to the left. Running back blocks him. Goes to his right.
This is the longest 2 seconds in sports history.
Ever. The clip. I'll show you the clip at the break. Just chucks it up to our wide receiver from Bergenfield, New Jersey, Corey White. He comes over to defensive backs, catches it in the end zone. Ref puts up his hands, touchdown, Stonehill wins.
All right.
New Jersey 101.5.
You did win?
I won.
Well,
I won.
You won, and you didn't get the prize because the light didn't go on.
Yeah, I don't know if I was at Seaside or Point Pleasant. I was at one of those 2 boardwalks, and it was throwing the football through the tire. Now you don't go through the tire completely. There's a target in the back of the middle of the tire,
and that's supposed to light up. Right.
It's the red light's supposed to go off, ding, 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 and you win. You have to hit 1, and you get the prize.
Right.
Any prize you want. It's tight spiral. I played football, hit the target clearly, and the guy was like looking at the lights to wait to see if it was going to go off because he knew I hit it. And I was like, it must be a malfunction.
Why did he give it to you?
He didn't. He was like, sorry, man, the alarm didn't go off. You must have not hit it the right way. I was like, hit it the right way?
What right way?
What right way? My spiral couldn't have been tighter. It was a BB right through the tire.
So what'd he say?
He goes, I'm sorry, man. Maybe next time. I was like, I'm never playing this game
you're
again.
A football
I'm on
grab by the
protest.
throat.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Tommy Farrell. The Dodgers beat San Francisco last night 4-1 thanks to rookie sensation Cody Bellinger. He added an RBI triple and 2-run homer to extend the Dodgers' winning streak to 2 games. But they got nothing on the Indians' 21. Yes, Cleveland won its 21st consecutive game after a 5-3 matinee victory over Detroit yesterday. The Indians surpassed the Moneyball Oakland A's for the longest winning streak in AL history. Jay Bruce contributed with a 3-run jack and has enjoyed his time so far in Cleveland.
I'm just happy to be here, man. I really am. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to be part of this club.
4 Cleveland relievers finished the game, and Cody Allen picked up his 27th save. The Indians haven't lost since they played home against Boston 20 days ago. Cleveland is within 5 wins of catching the 1916 New York Giants, who won 26 straight, but that included a tie. Cleveland plays host to Kansas City for a 4-game homestand starting tonight. Oakland topped the Red Sox 7-3 in Boston last night, but there was a bigger story that came out of Fenway Park. 4 fans seated above the Green Monster dropped down a sign that read, "Racism is as American as baseball." That was during the 4th inning. The 4 individuals were escorted out of Fenway Park. There is no word if there will be legal action as of yet. The Red Sox and A's start at 1:35 today in Boston. The Yankees beat Tampa Bay last night 3-2 to make a push on the Red Sox in the AL East. New York is 3 back to Boston and have a 3-game lead over the Twins in the wild card. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the Texans will start rookie Deshaun Watson tonight in Cincinnati. Tom Savage was the Week 1 starter, but replaced by Watson in the second half. Both quarterbacks didn't fare well in the Texans' loss to Jacksonville, as they were both near 55% in pass completions. With updates every 20 minutes, I'm Tommy Farrell. This is SportsCenter on ESPN Radio. A vacant house fire was reported at 5:50 this morning on the corner of West Roswell Avenue and Riverside Drive in Nedrow. The back of the house was completely engulfed in flames. But according to Nedrow Fire Chief Harold Smith, it wasn't that big of a challenge.
Took out big water and knocked it down in about 10 minutes.
Nedrow's fire department is a volunteer staff that is contracted with the town of Onondaga. They also provide fire and EMS assistance to the nearby area. With the help of only 15 Nedrow firefighters and other neighboring fire departments, no injuries were reported. According to Smith, the cause of the fire is still an ongoing investigation. Tommy Farrell, NCC News. When you're walking through the Great Swamp Conservancy, you see a whole lot of nothing. But really, that nothing is something graceful. It's delicate. It's nature. Conservation educator Camille Warner wants children to be outside, and she thinks that should start as young as possible.
There's other things around you besides what you see on the television, and we want to start them off young and get them interested in nature.
The Junior Naturalist program is an educational experience for children 7 through 12, but it's not any educational experience. The kids are outside all day, learning about insects, catching butterflies, and yes, having fun in the mud. Needless to say, Warner is excited to share her passion for nature.
That light bulb look that kids get every once in a while, and so I think at least once every day, one of those kids had this really unique light bulb look.
Tommy Farrell. Nearly 2/3 of millennials don't own a credit card. According to Bankrate.com credit card analyst Robin Frankel, millennials have been very resistant towards being in debt.
In general, millennials, because they're so debt averse, they have avoided credit cards.
30-year-old Derek Susi doesn't use his credit card that much anymore. The Syracuse resident says it's because of what a couple family members are currently going through.
My brother, they used up a ton of them, and they're in major debt, and they don't even care.
But millennials shouldn't be so afraid of opening up a credit card. As Frankel says, having a rewards card means getting an automatic discount on things you buy.
We always recommend that if you're spending a huge chunk of your income on everyday expenses like groceries and gas, that you look into getting a credit card that'll reward you for spending in those areas.
With that said, millennials should invest more time in their credit. Tommy Farrell, NCC News. A foul called on Johnson before the inbound was made. A silly foul there, nonetheless, for the Seawolves. Again, not enough to send him to the line. So Drummond inbounds it again to Mangakahia. Mangakahia at the top of the key, getting the call from Coach Q. 12 seconds. Gets the screen from Stroutman. Mangakahia at the top of the three-point line. Keeps her dribble alive. Crossover dribble, layup. It's good. It's good. Mangakahia's layup is good. Coach Kendall decides to punt it here on 4th and long. Hunter Barton gets the snap and a nice punt, high punt downfield. Darian Fox catches it at the 30-yard line and makes a tackler miss, makes another tackler miss, puts his shoulder down and runs over Briggs, but he's brought down by Briggs. Briggs kind of got run over and said, "You're coming down with me." And it looks like Canastota will take over after that Thousand Island punt. Now, yeah, Canastota's winning the game, Matt, but not convincingly as the 3 seed and a Thousand Island team that has probably only 25 players on this team, and Canastota's home. What do you do here to score some insurance points and, kind of just beat up on Thousand Island this half?
I mean, you just have to execute.
One has to ask oneself, what do you say to the leaders of the 21st century? To be a 21st century leader, you must have 2 things, competence and character. You're being taught every day here at this great institution how to do that. Out there among you, they're the cynics. There's the people that scoff at character. They're the people that scoff at hard work. And I can assure you, when the going gets tough, they will not be there.
This is the 118th edition of the Army-Navy Football Classic on Westwood One. Live from Philadelphia, here's Tommy Farrell.
From Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love, Westwood One proudly presents another production of Army-Navy Football. Hello everyone, I'm Tommy Farrell, your host for today's Army-Navy Football pregame show, brought to you by Fast Track. Head over to your local Fast Track for the Fast Track Fast Pack. 2 pizzas, 1 2-liter Pepsi, and 1 48-ounce Perry's ice cream, and 1 bag of Lay's chips for just $19. Thanks so much for spending some of your Saturday with us. Wherever you may be listening, we hope you're staying warm. It is a snowy one today, 34 degrees, and boy, is it coming down. The last time this game was played in the snow, this same stadium in 2013. Behind Navy quarterback Keenan Reynolds' 2 touchdowns when Navy beat Army 34-7. Around college football today, Oregon stays in-house to grab their next head coach. Offense coordinator Mario Cristobal will be the Ducks' next head coach, and that's despite interviewing people around the nation. Heisman finalist Baker Mayfield was announced the AP College Football Player of the Year. This makes him the 4th Oklahoma quarterback to win the award since it was started in 1998. Volunteer football fans can rest easy now. Tennessee has named Alabama defensive coordinator Jeremy Pruitt their next head coach. Pruitt signed a 6-year, $3.8 million contract.
My vision for our football team is we want to be a big, fast, dominating, aggressive, relentless football team that nobody in the SEC wants to play.
Pruitt also says come spring football time, he's going to make it a point to emphasize dominating the line of scrimmage. Okay, let's talk about both teams now. Army sits at 8-3, but they could be 10-1. They lost at number 8 at the time, Ohio State, 38-7. Lost at Tulane, 21-17, and then they lost at North Texas, 52-49. And North Texas just got smoked in the Conference USA Championship game to Florida Atlantic, 41-17. Now, this has already been a successful season for Army after going 8-5 last year to finish with its first winning record since 2010. It's only its second winning season since 96. Army is 8-3. They could still reach 10 wins on the year. An impressive turnaround it's been for the Black Knights under head coach Jeff Monken. But a loss to Navy, now that would make the season feel like something of a disappointment, and that's especially after Army's huge win against Temple back in October. Listen how excited the Black Knights were in the locker room after the game.
I'm gonna fight! I'm gonna fight! I can't fight no more! I can't fight no more! I'm gonna lie down! Bleed a while! I'm gonna get up! Fight some more! I'm gonna fight! I'm gonna fight! Fight!
But there's not so much cheering going on down in Annapolis. The midshipmen losing 5 of their last 6 games. But the silver lining is in all that is they haven't lost a single game by more than 10 points. The midshipmen have not had the kind of the season they were hoping for during Navy's first 2 seasons in the American Athletic Conference. They did go 20-7 overall and 14-2 in conference play. But this season, Navy enters their season finale against Army, sitting at 6-5 and only 4-4 in the AAC. Now a loss to Army would give Navy 6 losses in a season for the first time since head coach Ken Nianadololo took over the program in 2008. Now the good news for Navy's heading into this game is that the team did have a serious deficiency in 2017. It's been its pass defense. That pass defense not looking too good for Navy all season. But obviously playing Army and one of the top rushing offenses and another team that runs the triple option, that's not something that should be a major problem for Navy going into today's game. Yes, this is the 118th meeting of Army and Navy, but the winner will take the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. Now, Navy's won this trophy 10 times in the last 14 years. Navy was also on a 14-game winning streak from 2002 to 2015, but last year, Army won in Baltimore 21-17. These two teams are different. They wear different jerseys, but at the end of the day, they're serving our country, and they're still brothers in arms. Westwood One put together this piece. narrated by J.K. Simmons.
Army and Navy. What began as a weekend diversion, a contest for bragging rights, in time became something much more. To the nation and to everyone who's ever worn this uniform. This field is where they play, knowing that the real battlefield awaits when they hang up their cleats. It's how it's always been, from the legends of the past to the heroes of today. Since that first kickoff, the world has changed in ways we couldn't have imagined. But this game, it stands alone. For the past, for today, forever. Timeless.
Both teams have a common denominator that's not just serving your country. Both teams run the triple option, and both teams run odd fronts on the defensive side of the ball. And both teams are in the top 2 of rushing offenses in the country. Army averaging 368 rushing yards per game. That puts them atop of the nation. And Navy in a close second, averaging 347 rushing yards per game. Both teams are also big on time of possession. Navy leads the nation at 36 minutes and 29 seconds on average. And Army also, they're in 4th place at 34 minutes of time of possession per game. 2 option teams. Now that means there will be fewer possessions. There will be fewer plays run during your typical football game. This by no means will be a shootout. This will be a closer, lower scoring football game. And that's different than what we've seen most of this season. A lot of shootouts, a lot of teams running no huddle, a lot of teams throwing the ball. But option offenses that involve a lot of pitches also means that there will be turnovers, and turnovers decide the outcomes of these games frequently, especially in weather like today with snowy conditions. How about Army's quarterback Ahmad Bradshaw? Rushed for over 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns this season. He can become the leading rusher in a season. He can hold that record in Service Academy history. Bradshaw has only attempted 39 passes on the season, so he's not asked to throw much, but he does lead the team, like I said before, with 11 touchdowns and 1,472 yards. Now here are the keys of the game, brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Get a quote at 1-800-STATE-FARM or statefarm.com. Army is first in the nation on 3rd down conversions. That percentage is at 53%. So 53% of their time on 3rd down, they are converting and keeping their time of possession rolling, keeping the ball rolling on offense. Army's also 4th in the nation in red zone defense at holding opponents 70% when they're in the red zone, preventing them from scoring. So if you're Navy, your key to the game is to stop Army on 3rd down and give yourself opportunities, maybe win the field position battle, and you're going to have to score in the red zone. There's going to be big plays broken. There's going to be turnovers. It's going to be a sloppy, slippery, messy game. But if you're Navy and you don't want to fall to a 500 record to end the season, you got to punch it in when the time counts down in the red zone. Coming up after the break, I spoke with Navy head coach Ken Niannatalolo. But first, it's now time to take a look at the AAC standings, brought to you by Pole Position Raceway on the 3rd floor of Destiny USA. Now, number 10, Central Florida beat 19th ranked Memphis 62-55 in overtime last week to give UCF a championship and a New Year's 6 game. They'll be playing the 7th ranked Auburn Tigers in the Peach Bowl on New Year's Day down in Atlanta. Now, here are your standings in the AAC. In the West, Memphis at 7-1, Houston at 5-3. Now, mind you, these are all conference records, not overall records. Navy sits at 4-4, as well as SMU, Tulane at 3-5, and Tulsa at 1-7. In the East, UCF, the perfect season still going for them at 8-0 in the conference. USF at 6-2. Temple sits at 4-4. Cincinnati and ECU at 2-6, as well as UConn. That's been your Pole Position AAC standings, brought to you by Pole Position Raceway, indoor electric karting at 45 miles per hour. We're going to take a quick break now. You're listening to the Army-Navy Football pregame show on Westwood One. I'm here with Navy head football coach Ken Niannatalolo. Coach, it goes without saying that all service academy teams have remarkable leadership on the team. But how is your senior class this year, their leadership, how has that been different?
Well, we got good kids. They've worked really hard. They've had to lead our team, especially with, like you said, some ups and downs this year. But I've told them that's life, and you have to learn to deal with adversity. It's hard times always come. That's always a constant. The variable is how you react to it, and that's what we discussed with our team. And they've done a good job of leading our seniors, our captains, have done a great job of leading our team through all of this.
Coach, what are your impressions of Army? They've been very strong at running the ball this year. So what do you see when you watch film on the Black Knights?
Very impressive football team. They're finishing games, which shows you their mental and fortitude. Just been impressed that they're doing the things that it takes to win games, taking care of the football, not beating themselves. I've been impressed with the way they've played, but you can see they've taken on, Coach Munkin's personality, tough, hard-nosed, really good football team.
Big rivalry game against Army this week, obviously. You go back with Coach Munkin when you guys coached together at Navy. How do you approach this big game against the team you know so well?
It's tough, because I they were very, very similar teams, tough, hard-nosed teams. We both run the option. We both out front teams. Both teams are filled with selfless kids because you don't come to any service academy unless you're a selfless person that you're willing to serve. The percentage of people that, join the services are not, in the whole population of our country is not a large number. So it just shows you the type of young men they are. So, you want to beat them in the worst way football-wise, but who they are as people and what they represent, you got nothing respect for the guys at West Point.
Congratulations on another fine year, Coach, and good luck tomorrow. That was Navy head coach Ken Niannatalolo. We're going to take another break. You're listening to the Army-Navy football pregame show on Westwood One. Welcome back to the Army-Navy football pregame show on Westwood One. Let's take a look at today's injury report brought to you by Krause Hospital. If you're injured, just say, take me to Krause. For Army, D-back Jalen McClinton, disciplinary reason. Running back Kel Walker, ankle injury. For Navy, defensive end Anthony Villalobos, ankle injury. Linebacker Hudson Sullivan, foot injury. And linebacker Taylor Heflin for a targeted suspension call from last game. He is out for the first half today. Time now for the UPS Logistics matchup of the game. Quarterback Ahmad Bradshaw for Army and Navy's middle linebacker Howard Wynn. Now, the Army offense is first in the nation, like I said earlier, on third down conversions, converting 53% of the time. Navy's defense, they give up almost 400 yards per game and 6 yards per carry. So Howard Wynn and the midshipmen are going to have to find a way to stop Ahmad Bradshaw. And that's today's matchup delivered by UPS. To find out how UPS can put the power of logistics to work for you, visit thenewlogistics.com. This game is not as easy to predict anymore, and that's because Army used to struggle for almost over a decade since 2002. But two option teams, like I said earlier, fewer possessions, fewer plays run than during your typical game. It'll be lower scoring. It'll be closer. Option offenses, they have pitches. There will be turnovers, especially in the snowy weather today. Turnovers will decide the outcome of the game today. So I really thought it was a coin flip at first, but I like Army +3. I'm saying Army wins 21-14 in a snowy, running defensive battle game in Philadelphia. And that about wraps it up for today's Army-Navy football pregame show brought to you by Fast Track. I'm Tommy Farrell, and kickoff is next on Westwood One. A water main break in Syracuse has caused some headaches in the morning commute, and an overnight stabbing leaves one injured. At 11:30, it's 70 degrees under partly cloudy skies. This is NCC News. I'm Tommy Farrell. An early morning water main break in Syracuse has been causing headaches in the downtown area. NCC's own Mai Owens is live at the scene with more. Mai?
Tommy, I'm on the corner of South Warren Street and East Adams Street where the main broke. The Department of Public Works is currently on the scene now to fix the broken pipe. The water main burst around 3 a.m. this morning, causing nearly a 15-foot hole in the ground. The burst has caused a small flood in the basement of the Central Transit Hub. Central officials are working to clear out the damage now. They have just finished pumping water out of the basement. DPW says the cause of the pipe burst is still unclear, but they believe it is due to an old pipe. Just a few seconds ago, DPW seemed to be filling the hole with a bit of dirt. One of the workers let me know that they are working to take out a pipe. Earlier, they were trying to see if one of the mini pipes contained any gas. It is unclear when the pipe will be fixed, but they have estimated a couple of hours. Stay with me. I will be here with more information. Mai Owens, NCC News.
Thanks, Mai. Syracuse police is still searching for the suspect responsible for stabbing a man in the neck and head during an altercation last night. Police say the man is expected to recover from his injuries. An investigation is underway. No arrests have been made at this time. Although President Trump is vacationing in central New Jersey, he plans to hold a news conference today at 3 p.m. addressing the country's ongoing opioid crisis. While we've heard very few details on the president's plan to fight opioid addiction, ABC News' Lana Zach tells us what we do know.
In the president's budget, he's requested an increase of $200 million for drug treatment, but has also outlined a cut of $167 million from abuse prevention.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, chair of the president's opioid commission, sent the White House a report last week saying more than 500,000 people have died since the year 2000. The Associated Press says federal regulation cuts could possibly lead to millions of drivers at risk. The Federal Railroad Administration and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration believe that it should be up to the railroad and trunk companies to implement this procedure. Sleep apnea has been the cause of many death-related crashes within the New York and New Jersey areas. President Trump believes this slash in federal regulations will be a boost in economic growth. When you're in a rush and have little time to prepare a meal, fast food seems most convenient. NCC News' Erica Pischke finds out how we can improve our health and not rely on salty treats.
Trying to count calories seems irrelevant or a waste of time when all you can think about is your hunger. Registered dietitian of upstate New York, Maureen Franklin, says that we have made it too convenient to rely on faster options.
Eating healthy takes time. It takes planning. You have to go to the grocery store, or you can go to the farmer's market, and you have to actually think about it.
Franklin says sometimes the idea of the food is what we want.
If you actually chew your food and slow down and actually taste your food, sometimes people can go, wow, that really didn't taste that good.
Erica Pischke, NCC News.
The New York State Fair is taking extra precautions to ensure safety. That and more just ahead on NCC News.
The voice of NCC.
Those who harbor terrorists.
It's the voice of experience.
Saddam Hussein is harboring terrorists.
You hear it and you know.
They sound like they really know what they're talking about. I can trust what I'm hearing.
Standing an extraordinary job.
The voice for breaking news. Where to turn to know what's happening now.
Right, lifted from my heart.
I always hear it on NCC First. If it's an important story, they'll have it, and they'll have it right.
The voice for Central New York. Local and national news, weather and sports. Stories that matter to you.
It's all I listen to. I know when I'm listening to NCC, I'm going to hear what I need to hear.
In the car, at work, 24 hours a day, NCC News is there. NCC News, the voice of your community. Listen and know.
NCC News Time, 11:34. With the New York State Fair approaching, extra ride inspection is underway. One death at the Ohio State Fair may have sparked safety concerns for the upcoming New York State Fair. What will the fair do to ensure their customer safety? State Fair spokesman Dave Ballard says extra inspection couldn't hurt.
We hire a third-party inspector to be our eyes and ears and apply sometimes tougher standards and see things that maybe somebody else might miss.
The New York State Fair is set to begin on August 23rd and will continue until Labor Day, September 4th. Today, we'll see a mix of sunshine and clouds with a stray of showers possible this afternoon. The high will reach near 73 degrees. Tonight, there will be clear skies with a low dropping into the 50s. And for tomorrow, it'll be sunny. Highs near 83 degrees with light winds. Thursday will also be sunny and warmer with a high near 85. And Friday, clouds and rain will make its way back into the forecast. A Rochester area TV news anchor, Don Eilhart, is now the holder of a Guinness World Record. He's been awarded the record for longest-running local TV news anchor in the world at the same station in the same market. Eilhart was at WHAM TV for 50 years and 12 days. That's the NCC News 1130 report. I'm Tommy Farrell. Get the very latest from NCC News 24/7 at nccnewsonline.com.